was really just to finish. I did know that I was going to be a lawyer, but I didn't actually know the options that existed.
Okay.
Being an advocate, being an in-house counsel, working for NPOs, working for government, working as an attorney as well, like a practicing attorney. I didn't know those options existed.
Sure.
And I think that's part of the reason, or part of the big reason why I've been very intentional about creating a platform that allows, young students to have access to the kind of information on the roles and basically the careers that exist within the legal profession, and so that's big for me. Like just the podcast itself, ideally how I've seen it work in beautiful ways is, hi Tebello, I noticed that you, or rather, hi Yvonne, I noticed that you were featured on Tebello's podcast and that you're an aviation lawyer. I've never known about aviation law, but everything you spoke about was so interesting.
Sure.
I'd like to borrow 15 minutes of your time just to get an understanding of what it is that, aviation entails on a daily basis. I don't think I got enough information from the podcast, but this is something that I am keen in finding out more information about. Are you open to helping me? See, it makes the networking even easier for you because you come from a place of, I've done my research on you as a person, you're showing interest in the person that you're speaking to, and you also just show that you don't know, but you're open to learning.
Sure.
Right?
Okay. So right now, I would consider you as an entrepreneur and as a lawyer as well, rightfully so, right? So what would you say was the turning point of your journey where you figured out, I'm not going to go into practice, I'm going to start my own thing, be my own boss, and just do my own thing?
2 months into articles.
Really? That's insane. How bad was it?
Hey, I was just like, yo, Mdimu, if I can just see myself done with this. So on the last day of articles, I registered Collective Intelligence.
Sure.
And I didn't even know the direction that it was going to take, right? But I was just like, I know that I can make this work because even though I didn't have a good experience during my articles, I was very intentional about the fact that I want to use this to my advantage and I'm going to milk it for what it is so that when I start my own thing, I will at least be competent enough to provide advice that I am certain is true and accurate. And that's how, Collective Intelligence was born.
Sure.
I was just like, I need to do something. And, I'm not sure on the direction, but I need to take this leap of faith because corporate
a mess. So
showed me flames.
What was it about articles that was that made you feel like I can't do this? Like a person that is in their first day or first week of articles maybe can benefit from you answering this. What is it that you wish you knew or could have done better in that moment of doing your articles?
Some things are not necessarily attached to you as a person, as an individual. Some of the things that exist in corporate are systemic, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's very difficult to say you must just grow thick skin. We obviously have different levels that we can tolerate. I know of people who in 2 months they gave up completely.
Sure,
right?
That's true.
But I had my eye on my why and the prize. And I knew that no matter what, I want to see myself at admission.
Sure.
No matter what, I do want to see myself become an attorney. Even if I don't end up using my skills as an attorney going forward, I need to see this to finish. And that was my why.
Sure.
And I also knew that my contribution to the legal profession, no matter how small it will be, is going to be invaluable. So I knew that I wanted to be intentional, about building something that's impactful and empowering. So that's what kept me going.
Okay. So would you say basically articles were a foundation of what you were actually what you had in mind, what you wanted to build, or where you were headed at?
Articles were the foundation that actually empowered me to know exactly what it is that I didn't want, and that led me to exactly what I do want. And I'm very grateful for the fact that that didn't work out because I've then been able to build a platform like Sister in Law, which is a platform which basically shows and educates young, students or young professionals that it doesn't have to be black and white once you're in the legal profession. You can be a creative. In fact, just law on its own, it requires you to be very creative. but you can make it fun. You can make it relatable. You can make it palatable for people who've never, been in a courtroom or who've
Sure.
never had access to the law.
No, that's good because I feel like it's giving you had a script of my questions actually, because I was gonna ask you to tell us about sister-in-law, but you've went into that. So what does your day look like? Because I mean, you're an entrepreneur, you're a lawyer, you've got consultations and all of that. For a person who's thinking of starting their own thing, what does your day look like?
It took a while to get to a routine, honestly. It was a lot of trial and error, but I finally did find my groove around year 5.
Okay.
Because a lot of the time, right, you have to give yourself an opportunity to explore what is working and what isn't working. So depending on the projects that I'm working on at the moment, let me tell you my routine right now because it's changed because of the
Please.
studying. So I wake up in the morning and I do 2 to 3 hours of studying. I wake up at 5. I do 2 to 3 hours of studying. I do a short workout and then shower, have some breakfast. Then my work day starts.
Okay.
And that usually ranges from consultations. I try to have consultations during the first half of the day.
Okay.
Then later in the day, it's like drafting, doing some admin because I'm still very like admin intensive, doing admin and then working on social media posts for the week ahead. Usually I try to do 3 to 5 posts in advance, but also leaving flexibility for things that might pop up here and there. And then try to start cooking by 5
Okay.
sometimes. And then recently I've been very intentional about making the evenings for family because I just feel I'm very absent during the day naturally. It's, the work day. Then I really just try to do those last 3 hours of my day focusing on family. When my family is annoying me, I just read a book or catch up on podcasts. I'll be listening to Employment Wednesdays.
Okay.
So that's what a typical day looks like.
Okay.
It is a little, it's a little bit intensive because I'm still doing everything alone at the moment, but I'm hopeful that that's going to change in the
So
next
when are you
coming months.
hiring so that I plug my people?
Soon. Unfortunately, I'm going to be very overwhelmed by the number of applications, so I'm not going to put anything public.
Okay.
All the people that I have identified, I've already been in touch with.
Okay, that's why it's important to have presence on socials or something.
Only the day I'm expanding further and someone else is able to screen the applications and give me like the final 10, then I'll be able to do something publicly. But right now I've only just reached out to the people who I've had an interest in wanting to work with. I don't want to say in people that I want to work for me. I want to work with that person.
Okay. I love that so much because many times I think one of the reasons why people leave corporate is the thing of I work for someone. Like there's a sort of, I want to say power inferiority or something like that, whereby you don't feel like going to work because you feel like you're enslaved or you feel like you're being bullied or being moved around. But I love the energy that you're leading at to say, I don't want people to work for me. I want people to work with me because when they work with you means they care more about the vision as well. And
Absolutely.
they get to grow with you.
I really am looking for somebody who cares about the vision and who is just aligned with what I'm trying to build, but who's also very intentional about wanting to build their own
Thing. That's
person
beautiful.
within my thing, because there is really room for all of us to just shine.
Okay. So in conversations, you and I discussed Yali.
We discuss everything.
Wow. Okay. So you told me that you were rejected by Yali 3 times or 2 times.
Yeah, it was 3.
It was 3 times.
Yali,
And
are you
finally,
listening?
the 4th time you went in, right? You got accepted. What made you keep applying? And
I'm stubborn.
okay, also with that said, with you applying consistently, why do you think it's important for a person to diversify themselves in terms of part of the programs that they're part of and in terms of the things that they do with themselves? Like, would you say it changed your career path? Would you say it did something for your CVs? How did it benefit you? And maybe just tell us what Yali is a bit.
So when I submitted the 4th application, I somehow had already had a folder where I had the first, the second, and the third.
Sure.
And when I submitted the fourth one, I saw why those first three didn't work.
Okay.
And I think because it happened, basically, it's an annual thing.
Sure.
And because it happened over 4 years, I was able to actually track the growth
Okay.
of those 4 years. So those rejections were not a no. They were, you just need to keep consistent, but also you need to keep adding the building blocks,
Okay.
So I was not ready at that time that I thought I was ready.
Okay.
It was really just, I went in the first year knowing that I have a platform that has the power to impact lives. But by the fourth year, I was able to show that I have a platform that has the power to impact lives, and here is the proof.
So would you
I
say
had the proof in the fourth year.
okay? Would you say it's important to always have track record to back yourself up?
Yes, but sometimes impact speaks for itself.
Okay.
You will say, draft a will. So let's say the first year of sister-in-law, I'm like, draft a will, right?
Sure.
I have nothing to show for it. But in the fourth year, I have people who have come to me and said, I finally got my parents to draft a will, and it was right in the nick of time because my father passed away last month. And I was so glad that last year when I first heard your conversation, I had a important talk with my parents, and I managed to convince them to let go of the myths that exist around drafting wills,
Okay.
and even with my workshops, from one of the workshops that someone returned and they said to you that workshop changed their life because
Sure.
they got information that they didn't know existed out there, and that empowered them. So there's a difference between hosting a workshop, right? And then actually seeing the work, your work live through people's intentions,
Sure.
through them actually taking action on what they've learned.
Okay.
So definitely in the fourth year, it was a thing of there was now proof to show the impact that I was talking about.
Okay.